Okay, now I'm going to show you how to use the South Florida Media Network graphics. So I've just taken these, the stand-up and the interviews from the 12 Miles project. It's not the whole project, but you'll get the idea. So what I'm going to do here is, since I just don't want to hear this right now, I'm just going to mute the sound. It's just them talking. And what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is import the South Florida Media Network lower third. So I'm going to just come down here and we're actually going to change the layout to the captions and graphics and let this window open up. And what we want to do is we want to go to this bottom little icon here. It's this little square which represents a screen with a plus. So let's click on that. And then we're going to navigate out to our folder that has the South Florida Media Network third. And it's in here, and it's the MOGRT. That's short for Motion Graphics Template. So this is South Florida Media Network low third. Click on that and import it. And then when you come down here to browse, you can search for it. So just put SFMN and hit enter. And then here it is. And we're going to set it up on J here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just turn on the title safe. If you don't have title safe, you can hit the little plus here, find title safe and drag it down to where you can use it and then click OK. So the title safe's on. So I'm going to take this and just drag it down and I'm going to drop it on top of the first stand up where J is. Okay. Now, if I just click on here, you'll see it once it comes in. At the beginning, it's because if you'll see it just kind of comes in like that. So let it come in so you can see where the thing actually is. And what we're going to do is we're going to position it, and we're just going to drop it down to this top line here. So you just select the graphic itself, go up here to your effects controls wherever they are, and this is the Y, which is up and down, and we're just going to push it down until it's right down here. We're not going to move it left or right. Okay, and now it's already says J Sandhouse, but you'll know when we click over here and then click on edit that we get this, and looks different than the regular graphics because this is a MOGRT. It has different kinds of controls. So I'm just going to try to center this up a little bit. So this is the X that's left and right. This is the Y that's up and down, and of course I'm not going to move it up and down. I'm just going to click 0 back and hit enter. That's where it was. So I'm going to move it a little bit to the right. Okay, that's fairly centered. Well, okay, there to go. And then this multimedia professor is fine, but I think it's a little small. So I'm going to come down here to the size. Notice you can change the fonts. You can make it bold or italic or whatever. But I'm just going to click here and type 35 and hit enter. Okay, and that makes it a little better size. Now because I changed the size, I need to change the position, so I'm just going to move it back and forth here. So now I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to leave that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it on there for 6 seconds. So I'm just going to play and count to 1006, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. Stop. Now I'm going to lock these other tracks, the tracks for everything else locked. Everything except the track that the graphic is on. And then hit the W key, that'll trim it down. Then I'm going to zoom in with the plus key a little bit. Okay, now you see it doesn't move in by itself. And then it just stays there, and then when it gets to the end, it just cuts out. Okay, just goodbye, cut. Now, what you can do is you can just right click here on the end of it and apply the default transition, which is just a fade out. And if you do it like this, it just fades out in 1 second. Okay, if you want to make it a little shorter, you double click it, click, and type 15 for 15 frames. That's half a second, and that fades out a little quicker. Okay, and but I like to use something that's a little more unusual. Click here on the icon and delete that, and we're going to come up here to our effects. And when we get our effects here, we're going to search, and when we search, we're going to type the word gradient. Okay, and then the gradient comes down. Oh, that's our project. Let's go to effects. Let me go to my effects window. Okay, here's my effects. So I'm going to do gradient. Okay, and then there's two different gradient wipes. There's one here that's under transitions, that's under video effects and transitions, but we don't want that. We want this to be under video transitions here. So we're going to take this one here and we're going to drop this down. And there it is. Oops, I missed. Let's put it right there and let go. And you'll see this pops up. And we're just going to go with the defaults. You can put different images in here to use as wipe. We're just going to use the default and leave the softness at 10. And so now it makes a little fade out. Okay, as you can see, it kind of looks kind of cool. But the graphic came in this way, sort of wipes in this way, and then it's also going out that way. And I just want to reverse that. So I'm going to click this here. Okay, and go to my effects. I'm going to go back to the edit 2 here so I can see my effects controls, and when I click here I'm going to go to my effects controls, and all I'm going to do here is when I click the actual graphic itself, I mean the transition itself, I'm just going to reverse it. So that just means when it wipes off, it's going to wipe from, instead of going from left to right in this direction, it's going to wipe off the other direction. I'm just going to turn off the title save and just let it go through. Comes in, there's Jay's name, it stays up for the amount of time, and then wipes out. Okay, so that's good. Now let's save, Command S, and let's skip down to the next person. I'm just dragging down, I'm going to snap right to where she starts. Now what I'm going to do here is I've got all the other tracks locked. All the tracks are locked except this track that has the graphics. I'm going to click here and just do a Control or Command C to copy, and then a Control or Command V to paste, and it'll paste right over here. Now of course it still says J on it, so I'm going to go back to my graphics mode up here at the top. Okay, and then notice it doesn't, the controls aren't there, so I'm just going to zoom out and hit the backslash key, click here, hit the backslash key, and then zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. It's already the right length, everything's the same, it's just that the text is wrong. So I'm going to go to edit and nothing shows up, so I'm going to click off of it and then onto it, and that brings the controls up. And all here I gotta just, and I'm just going to make up her name, Renee Jones. Okay, and I'm going to make Renee capital. Okay, and then when I click here it'll change, and I'm going to just center it up a little more, just change the X position just a smidge. Okay, and then I'm going to go here to this, the bottom one, and she is owner runners depot. Okay, and when I click it's going to change. Now since they're different length of words, I'm going to go to X and just sort of center them up a little more. Okay, and you'll see now save, Command S, and you'll see when I play it, it's going to make that same little thing. It comes in, her name's there, it stays up for 5 seconds, and the last second, which is the 6th second, it wipes off. And let me just do this one more time. So again, I'm going to come down here to the next person, and remember you only identify a person one time. Okay, so I'm going to click here to select this. I'm going to Command C or Control C, and then I'm going to Command V or Control V and paste it here, and again park inside of it, and I can see he's not Renee. Okay, so I'm just going to click here and click. Notice when I click there, this doesn't show up, so I got to click off of it and then click back onto it, and there it shows up. And here he is Michael Giacobbe. That's just his name, and he is the manager. Oops, I clicked off of it, so I got to click onto it, and he is manager of Runners Depot. Okay, and then you'll see that's all we needed to change. And so when we come here, it goes to him. Boom, done. Okay, now you see his name is longer, so it's a little off. So let's click on here, and let's just take the X position of his name, that's left and right, and just center it up more. And then we'll do the same thing with his title, X position of the title, and just center that up a little better. Okay, and then let's see. There we go. Nice. And done. Okay, so let's save, Command S. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go back to the Edit 2 mode. This is a little bit simpler of a thing to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the intro and outro for South Florida Media Network. Now, first thing I want to do is just come to the timeline and just right click and make sure there's no in and out point. So these are grayed out, so there's no in point, no out point, so we don't need to clear the in and out. But I'm just going to come here and make a new bin. Okay, so when I make a new bin, that's just like making a folder, and I'm just going to call this South Florida Media Network intro, outro. Okay, and then I'm going to click right on the folder before I right click and go to import. And then here's the two files here. So I'm just going to open them and bring them in. And you'll see that they're in here in the folder. Okay, let me just go back to project. Okay. Get off the. Oh, I got to take care of this. I got to get rid of that. So now I had that search thing in there. So now I would take the South Florida Media Network intro, and it's just a movie file. So it's just not a graphic or Mogurt or anything. So you just treat it like a piece of video. So just double click here. Now, if you don't put any in and out points, it'll take the whole clip from beginning to end. If you just play it, that's all it is. Okay. But what we got to do is come down here and unlock all of our tracks, every single one of them, including the graphic checks, all of them unlocked. And then to put it in and push everything out to the right, you don't hit overwrite or hit the period key. You hit insert or the comma key, which will push this thing in and make space for it. Now I'm going to zoom in on the timeline a little bit so you can actually see this happen. And when I hit insert, it's going to make a space and put that in the front. Okay, so there it is. Okay, now it's too big. Now how do you handle that? You just right click on it and got to click off it and right click on it, and you say set to frame size, not scale to frame size, set to frame size, and then there it is. And then you play it like that, and then you hit the backslash key, come down here beyond your last video, and you hit the up arrow key, you get the outro, and this again you don't have to hit any in and out points, you just hit the period key because there's nothing to push out of the way, and there it is. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it and just play it one time. And again, it's not scaled, so right click and you got to click off and then right click. You can't click that little icon, is what well, can't click that little FX icon. So come here and do set to frame size, and then this is fine too, save, and then you're ready to export. Okay, and that's it.